Welcome to another episode of Offline with LopezRadio. My guest today is a Twitch partner, also a really good friend of mine. You can find her on twitch.tv/Kerrty or youtube.com/Kerrty. And if you want to follow her on social media, it's at Kerrty Plays. I'll have links down below to all of her channels, all of her social media, all that stuff will be below. Also, click like or subscribe if you want to for this channel. I would enjoy that immensely. Join us today as we talk about what's been going on with Kerrty since she made partner about a year and a half ago. Also, what kind of things creatively block her and how she gets by it, and how to keep yourself safe while creating a personality online, among other things. But those are the main things we touched on. So enjoy that. And when you're done there, you can go check out LopezRadio episode 385, wherever you get your podcasts, or right here on YouTube as well. We talk for another 2 hours after this interview. So be sure to tune in for that. We had a lot of fun. We had a ton of fun. So be sure to tune in and check that out. And like, review, subscribe to the podcast. That'd be great too. But for now, enjoy Offline episode 7 with Kerrty. All right, take 3. Joining me today on Offline is Kerrty, good friend of mine, partnered streamer with Twitch. Kerrty, welcome back to the show. Welcome in, I should say.
Yeah, how's it going?
It's good. It's good. I'm glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit today about content creation, and we're going to then move into LopezRadio, where we can talk a little more freely about other things. But for now, we're going to talk about what you've got going on. And I was talking earlier before we had to restart this. You were partnered in 2021, April. Mm-hmm. So you've been a partner for about 1.5 years. And I was just kind of like to know how your view on being partner has changed since getting partner. Like, now that you've had time to marinate in the pool of partnership for 1.5 years, how do you feel now?
I think a lot of the sparkle has worn off. Mm-hmm. I think I think a lot of people who start streaming always have this goal that are like, oh, I want to be partner someday. You know, that's like the pinnacle. That's when you've made it. You know what I mean? So it felt really good when I finally got there. But then when I got there, it was kind of like, oh, this is the same thing, except now I have a check mark next to my name. I made it.
Yeah. I'm valid. I've been validated. Yeah.
I did it. I did the thing. Yeah. It's good, right? It's good because there's millions of streamers and only 1% of them will ever become partner. And that feels good. And it's a big accomplishment. And I play it down all the time that it's not a big deal, but it is. And I should accept it. But I think I don't know. When people are like, oh, you're a big deal now. Like, I don't feel that way. I still feel the same. Like, I'm the same person. It's just, yeah, there's this stigma.
I think a lot of streamers kind of feel like that too, where they're like, it's not that big. Like, it's a big, you got a leg up on most people. Like,
sure.
When you jump into a new game, or if you just jump on, like, you've got an actual audience that is there to see you, regardless of how big the core of that is. But I see it. I'm there all the time, and the same people show up. You've got the rabid fans. You've got those people that are just your ride or die.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal, right? There's like a little bit of legitimacy added to what you're doing, whether that's big or small. But yeah, it's
really changed my workflow, right? Mm-hmm. From being an affiliate to being a partner, because now, like before, when I was an affiliate, you're working towards the goal of being partner. That's pretty much your goal, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you're making a little bit of money on the side or whatever, but your goal is to become partner, because once you become partner, like, for some reason, I think like what you said, there's that validation or something that is there that people now look at you differently, especially sponsors, right? Now, when I was an affiliate, I never got a sponsorship opportunity. I actually was going through my email the other day, and I applied to be a partner with this coffee company when I was an affiliate back in, I think, 2020. Mm. And they denied me. They're like, we're going to go through with a different application. But last year, I got an offer from that coffee company to be a partner with them. So I thought it was kind of weird that, I get partnership last year, and then I get the offer last year from the same people that turned me down when I was their partner.
That stuff's always kind of weird though, right? Like a lot of people think it's like, well, you're there, so it's just going to be thrown at you. Like you have to wade through, just from talking to you and talking to other parties, you have to wade through so much crap to kind of figure out, all right, is this worth my time even? Because there are folks that are just kind of like, they're going to just throw things at you to see if you'll take them.
Sure. And a lot of them will take advantage of you too, because how do you measure your worth as an influencer, as a entertainer, as a person who's sitting in front of their computer playing a video game? Like, you know what I mean? There's no chart. There's no minimum wage somewhere where they tell you what to charge people, because that's not a thing. That's something that you need to figure out on your own. And I think a lot of companies do go after smaller people because they can pay them less.
Yeah, they know. They know that you're, especially if you're freshly partnered and you're just like kind of blowing up at any given moment, they're like, your mind is usually on like, okay, what are we doing next for the stream? What kind of stuff do I need? I need to get emotes. Like they know that you're distracted. So like, it'll be like a blitz of just like people offering you stuff because they're like, they don't know their worth yet. They have no idea, because there is, like you said, there is no scale out there for people to look at. There is no like charge a minimum of this. Now, thankfully you've made friends with some good people that could guide you. And that would probably be the biggest. I think that would probably be if I were talking to someone who's like about to be partner. I'm just kind of like, okay, so you need to get chummy with other people, not to get ahead, but chummy with other people just to know what kind of crap is coming at you, as far as offers go.
I think it's good to have a good moral support system, especially with people that have been doing this longer than you have, right? Over the last year, I've met a lot of people that have been really good resources for me to talk to when different deals come up or something, especially people who are similar in size to you, because they can tell you what kind of offers they're getting and how much they're getting paid or whatever, if they're comfortable saying that, obviously. But it is a good resource to have. And I think the best thing about streaming is just your ability to meet new people, and those opportunities are there for you, and they never would have been before. You know what I mean? Like most of the people that I talk to are in another country. The odds of me ever meeting these people would have been slim to none in a different circumstance. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. And then there's the whole problem of, all right, I've made it. I'm here. We are, we're doing this. I'm trying to get everything set up. And not only are you dealing with, having to parse through all that stuff, but like you said, meeting some reliable people, because you have a lot of opportunists in the realm of other streamers. So like figuring out, all right, is this person being genuine? Do they really want to help me? Are they really interested in being a pal? Or are they more interested in making a better name for themselves?
What I have to offer.
Yeah. I kind of broached the subject with death. Games with Death was on not too long ago, and we talked about that a little bit. And it's got to be a weird thing, because it's one of those like, especially when you've got a game where you play multiplayer with someone a lot, right? And you've got like a stable of people that you will have as partners on a regular basis. Like in a way you are trusting them to not be, to be okay people to play with, but B, to not also be self-promoting while they're hanging out with you.
Be presentable, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you have that friend that they're alone. I just don't know if I should say it.
Go ahead.
They're like alone on Thanksgiving, and you're like,
Sure.
do I bring this person home to my family to like meet them, to like have dinner with me? Because they're kind of freaking crazy,
Right.
You can't, it's the same thing. Yeah. The people that you surround yourself with really comes off to your audience, because if you can be the coolest, it doesn't matter. Like you could be the coolest person in the world, but if you have somebody that you're playing games with that is the most negative person in the world, or who knows what they
super
could say.
toxic. Yeah.
Sure. Like they could say things really mean or something. And it doesn't matter how good of a person you are. The fact that you have welcomed this person onto your show, we'll say, because it's essentially a show, it's a live show. The fact that you have brought them on there says a lot about you as a person, that you want to spend your time with this kind of person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
it's hard when you meet people online because you don't know who they really are.
Yeah.
You just know them as a personality online.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's weird because I mean, there's even people that you and I have known for a long time, and it's great to have them around, but you have no idea what they're really like because they've kind of almost got like a person in chat can always just have a persona, right? A persona that they want to put off. You know,
well, there's a filter there too, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're in chat, when you're talking, it's kind of like, you know, like on TikTok, when you see the live stuff and people are commenting,
mm-hmm.
you have, and I tell this to people all the time because sometimes I get like the worst things that come through my chat. You have the power to type out a message and you have a moment to think, should I press this enter button? You know what I mean? Like that backspace is always an option.
Right.
But you don't have that in real life, but you have that on the internet. And a lot of people can use that to their advantage to think about what they're saying, truly think about it before they press that enter key and make them seem like the person that they want you to think they are.
Right. They get a chance to almost tailor their representation of themselves, right? And that's kind of weird because they can just leave out like the fact that they're really shitty about something else or something. It's very odd, you know. It's very odd, and I'm not saying everybody. I would venture to say that most people just want to come into the chat room and have a good time in most cases.
Sure.
But who's going to shine? The people who are you know, like, hey, you look great when you're scared. Like people like that, you know. It's like it's terrible. It's
creepy.
And you know,
that was a real comment today, by the way.
Yeah.
Those of you who were wondering, that was an actual comment. I was playing a scary game and there was an intense moment apparently, and they were like, "You look really cute when you're scared," and I'm like,
"Psycho."
You sound like a psychopath. Goodbye. Yeah. Like,
it's kind of crazy, man, because you just don't know. Like anybody can pull you up anywhere, and so you have to be able to know. You have to be able to know that, you know. I talked about that with a few people. I talked about it with Death, like setting the boundaries, right? And you've got many of this.
They're huge.
They're really big. They're really, even with the people that you're really chummy with, boundaries are huge because some people just don't. They get the wrong impression of what their relationship with you is. Sure.
Yeah, because they spend so much time with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you interact with these people on a daily basis, and when you're a small streamer, all of your viewers are very important to you.
Sure.
Because every single one of those views count. And I think back now, the kind of stuff that I put up with, because I was in that mindset of, I need these people, like I need these viewers, and it wasn't good. You need to have a boundary of business and pleasure. And it took a while for me to learn that that's what I needed to do as well, that it's usually not okay to have message people privately, offline.
Yeah.
Like it might not be appropriate to do so. And having those boundaries, I think, is very, very important.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, one of the other things that have just changed for you is, you know, we talked about it just a little bit ago. A lot of the people that have been showing up for a while, like the past 2 or 3 years even, are still hanging out and stuff like that. But now there's a lot more new people that are coming in and trying to become a part of that ecosystem. And that is tough for new people to come into a chat and start getting the jokes and feeling welcome and stuff like that. What ways do you, if any, do you feel like the audience has changed since becoming a partner and having more viewers?
So before, I really prided myself on keeping up with chat, right? Having a conversation with each and every person that comes into the room. And as an affiliate, that's super important because obviously if somebody's not feeling engaged, they're probably going to leave, right? Mm-hmm. like they're going to get bored with the stream or whatever, or maybe not. Maybe they're just going to lurk, and that's great too. But most people, a lot of people come onto the platform to talk and have conversations and have a good time and make a joke and, you know, be part of something, be part of a community, talk together. Now, you know, when I went from 36 people and now we're sitting at, I don't know, I turned the numbers off a while ago, but I know from screenshots people send me or whatever from being in like the top of the directory or whatever, it's usually between 350 and 500 people on a daily basis. I miss a ton. Like I miss probably 90% of the conversation that happens now. And part of that does bother me, but at the same time, I kind of have to understand that my priorities have kind of shifted from going from this is the part of the job that I need to do now from affiliate, where like I need to build the community, but now the community is built. For the most part. There's a good foundation, right? Now it kind of is its own little ecosystem. It just kind of takes care of itself. Like new people come in and people have conversations with them. And if I continue to see the same name, it's like, oh, they've come back. Like, and we continue to have this conversation. You know what I mean? There's a lot of new people that come in that I continue to recognize, but then there's a lot of new people who come in who lurk. And you just, like the other day, somebody subscribed to the channel for 36 months. And I said, thank you, you know, happy 3 years or whatever. And they on Twitch, like the first time they talk, it'll say first time message whenever they come in. It was the first time they ever said anything to me, and it said, thank you, I love your content, I'm happy to be here. It's the first time they've ever said anything in my chat in 3 years, and they've been subscribed to my channel. So
yeah, that kind of stuff is always kind of nuts to me, because it's like, you know, that's when you know someone truly enjoys what you're doing. And like, it's not like, because I think there are a lot of folks who do like to jump in and make it about themselves, or kind of make a show of themselves in chat. But
like the guy yesterday that you came in, he's like, oh, I've been playing this game on hardcore too. Like even when I stream it, I get issues, and you're like subtle, really subtle, dude.
Subtle, bro. Glad to know.
Good job.
Yeah. How's that going? Trying to spark up a conversation in the most awkward way possible. But yeah, and like you have to, I mean, I think that you've got a really good community of people that kind of flesh people out, right? When they come in, like people can kind of get an idea of like, okay, this is the vibe in here. And
people are really protective too, right? Like,
sure. Sometimes
if somebody comes in and says something inappropriate, people are on them quick.
They pounce. They
do. They are very protective.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I probably hurt myself more than anything, but it's what makes me feel comfortable. But I do not handle pet names on my stream. I don't handle the baby, the sweetie, the honey, the sugar tits, the whatever you want to call me. Like, I don't handle that well.
Yeah.
And that's just a bit, it creeps me out, especially for somebody that I don't know calling me these pet names.
Yeah. It's also just as important, like you were talking about with the people you play with. Yeah. The boundaries and allowing things to occur inside your chat also kind of gives people a green light or a red light. You know, if someone can come in and just call you baby, sweetie, and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden someone's like, oh, I guess it's okay if I call her a pet name, so I'm going to do that.
It's just unwanted too, right? So like, I think what you allow into your space is really important, because if you allow these people to come in and call you sweetie and baby or whatever and sexualize you, like that's the standard you're putting out there. And chances are that's probably what your DMs are going to look like too.
Yeah.
So if that's not something you want to see or deal with, then you shouldn't deal with that. Like you need to nip it in the bud. And I know for smaller streamers, that's hard because every follow is important or whatever. But I think there needs to be a time when you're like, this person kind of creeps me out a little bit, and you just ban them.
Yep.
And you don't have to have a reason other than I don't want you here. That's it. And that's okay. Like you don't need to be kind. to that situation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean,
you have to allow it.
Yeah, and it's one of those, like, if you allow someone, even someone you know, to come in and just be an asshole to everyone,
sure,
the rest of the people in chat take notice, right? They're like, well, why can this guy talk like this and be a dickhead? Like, I
see it happen all the time, though. I see some of my girlfriends who stream, like, I see them get walked over all the time by people who come in and who are creeps, and they laugh it off. And
I'm just trying to make it.
Yeah, you know, or like, I hate to say it, but most of these people who are kind of creeps are the ones who are usually willing to spend money to get attention. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And sure, maybe that's what they're going for. But at the same time, like, I would not feel comfortable with myself knowing that you just have like all these creeps around, you know?
Well, and they can be kind of like in a position of power, even if they're not in spending money, maybe they're a very much, like a much bigger streamer, right? It's odd. I'm sure you get it a lot, but
I've definitely had people where I have played games with them and then they take that gesture as, oh, she likes me because she decided to play games with me, you know? Or like, we had a really good time playing games together, you know? Like, yeah. Like, we're playing games.
What does it mean, though? What does it mean?
I have fun playing video games. That's all it means. That's all it means, bud.
Oh God, yeah. It's there's just so much to consider. And I know. I mean, we talk a lot, so I mean, I know a lot of this stuff, but it's nice to kind of let other people into knowing, like, all right, this is like a constant thing. You're having to look at what you're being offered versus what it actually is versus who the fuck is this person? Are they legit? Sure. You know, are they
it's
people?
Something I deal with all the time. People are always asking me to, do this or do that, or, do this charity stream or whatever. Like, I don't know anything about these people. Like, I have to research that kind of stuff later on to figure out, like, is this legit, for one? Like, am I being scammed? Because that's another big thing that goes around with streamers, like people who will fake to be developers of like games or whatever, and then they want you to they'll offer you, like, we'll give you this amount of money to test our game, plus we'll give you like a character in the game, and like they make it sound like really cool and really legit, right? They'll even make websites and stuff. Like, this actually happened to a friend of mine. They like made a website, they like gave him an offer, they did all of this stuff, and then he was like, okay, fine, and then they gave him a file to download for the game because it's not released yet, and blah 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 blah. You download this file, it's like, it's a virus. It like
ransomware or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And they're doing it to a ton of streamers, and they're bigger streamers, right? So there's a lot at stake with something like that. Luckily, he was smart enough that, like, he had a conversation with another one of his friends, and they went back and forth, and they found just like one little, and it was the name of a real company.
Right.
But there was like I don't remember what it was. There was one small thing about the website where they were like, that's not right.
Yeah.
And they knew something was up.
The lengths that people will go to scam folks is pretty outrageous. Doing work in like the IT sector, I see it all the time, and it's very, they figure out something that's going to be easy to multiply or replicate across many people, because it's just the whole mentality behind it is like sales. Keep asking, keep selling. You're going to get a lot of no's, but eventually you're going to get that yes that's going to pay off, and then it becomes a problem. Yeah, it's just, there's so much to look out for, and I think it's important just to get that info out there, because people don't realize that there's a lot of stuff that's too good to be true. There's a ton of it.
Usually if it sounds too good to be true, then it is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm sure it doesn't take long to figure out like what's a legit offer versus what's kind of a fishy offer. For sure. Yeah. After you parse through them.
Especially like now after a year. So like I said, like before, like as an affiliate, I never really got anything. Now I probably get like 2 or 3 offers a week for doing different things. It's a lot of email work. Now I have a ton of email work now. I never thought that I would just be like officey, but like an hour in the morning, I just sit down and I look through emails and I'm like, okay, we need to respond to this person, like not interested in this, just need to send that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of it is, sorry, I'm not interested at this time, you know, maybe in the future, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's a lot of office work now. And now I can kind of cut through like, okay, this is gimmicky, or, you know, like the mobile app thing, like, nope, don't want to do that. Like that's a bad end. Yeah. But I mean, every once in a while I do get one. It's very, honestly, for every 20 offers I get, I probably do one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's just either not worth it or kind of scummy, or, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
you just offer.
Yeah. And it has to just stick out like a sore thumb, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think that's the big thing too, right? Like you build this community of people and they get to know you and they trust you as a person. But I think I think a big mistake with a lot of streamers, and if you're an extremely large streamer, it probably doesn't matter because you can just dish out whatever sponsorships you want. It doesn't matter if you lose like 10, 20, 30 people. It's not a big deal. But for me, like, I'm not going to do a sponsorship unless I'm like, this is a cool product. I believe in this product. I think other people will like this product as well.
Yeah, because you don't want to sell your audience crap.
Yeah, because then what does that say about you? If you do something like that, they instantly lose all of that trust in you, right? Like what happens when somebody betrays you in person? You don't trust that person anymore. It's the same thing. So you want to be legit, you know?
Yeah, you don't want to hurt your ability to sell stuff in the future. Like you just by being like, try this thing out. And it's like some kind of shitty product. Yeah, or
like, oh, well, I tried out the last thing she told me to do and it was terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not.
I bought this mobile game and it sucks.
Not good branding.
It took all my money.
No, it took all my money and now I'm addicted to mobile games.
Right. Lost my house.
Seriously, but it's true. That happens.
Oh yeah. People go in hard on some of those things, man. It's kind of crazy. What do you like to switch gears a little bit? What kind of things, because I know you have them, but what kind of things do you feel like are roadblocks for your creative process, and how do you get by those things?
Well, how do I say this? You can't be the same show every day, right? Mm-hmm. You gotta switch it up somehow. Like you have to have something new, because if it's the same thing every day when people show up, you're gonna get bored. It's like watching the same movie 10 times in a row. You don't want to watch the movie anymore. It's the same thing with streaming. It's the same thing with entertainment. And I think one of my biggest obstacles is that I have all of these ideas of things that I want to do, but I'm either not artistically inclined to do it. I don't know how to do animation or whatever, you know what I mean? Finding or hiring people to do the thing that you want achieved is really hard to do sometimes. Even with websites out there like Fiverr or some, I have not had good luck with that website. Or finding people to like help me on that website. So I think the art side of stuff, there's a lot of like overlays and alerts and, you know, things that pop up on screen and backgrounds and whatever are really big with people. And it's an interactive feature of your stream, but I can't do it. I have to hire somebody to do it, or I have to find somebody to do it. Like I am not an artistic person. I can draw a stick figure, but it's probably about it. Another thing was editing. Like that was a big struggle that I went through trying to start up YouTube and TikTok and doing the Instagram thing and switching to social media stuff to like try to expand your audience that way. I had to teach myself how to become a video editor. And it's still taking me a long time. Like now I can knock out like, you know, a clip in like an hour, which is great. But before it would have taken me all day.
Yeah.
And it's hard because when people all the time are like, oh, it must be really cool to like do that, to like sit around and just play video games and like, get paid to do it. Like, I can't believe people do that. It's not just that. Like, I have to sell myself as an entire business. I'm my own office assistant. I'm my own scheduler. You know what I mean? Like, I'm my own editor. I have to do everything live. I have to go through my footage to make my videos. Like, it's a lot of work. Like, yeah, I'm streaming like 40 hours a week, but I'm working 70, 80 hours a week. Like doing stuff on the back end, to get stuff ready for stream or to get sponsorships so that I can get paid or, whatever. It's a lot of work. Like, yeah, there are people who I'm sure just stream for a living and they don't have to worry about anything else. But then I have things like Patreon and, TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. And you have all of these other aspects where I guess this is where like the business side comes in. As a person, I've been so cautious that I can't have all my eggs in one basket, right? What happens if Twitch just dies tomorrow? What would happen to me? You know what I mean? That's really scary, seeing as Twitch has been doing a lot of questionable things. And like, who knows? Maybe Twitch isn't going to be around much longer. So I'm trying to build my audience in other places to ensure my safety if something like that does happen. It's a lot more than just me sitting down and playing video games. It's a lot.
Well, and there's such a large step, right, between becoming a partner and then making enough money to hire those types of people to do those things for you. Because once you reach that level, it's
not there.
It's a large step because those people, especially now, I think maybe years ago, it was probably a little, I don't want to say easier, but probably more affordable because just like a partner's trying to figure out their worth in those situations of being sponsored for something or getting a deal with a game company or something like that. There was a time where editors were trying to, and there still are editors trying to figure out how much are my services worth, right? How much is it worth for me to sit here and edit a 30-minute YouTube video based off of 2 or 3 hours of clips, right? It's like, and I think a lot of them have figured it out and they know they understand the business a little more when they're like, this person can make X amount of money if they're getting the kind of views they're getting on their other videos. So I know that my worth is this.
Yes. There's a lot more to compare to, but I mean, the gaming industry now it's not just something for your kids. The gaming industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Like it's as big as the movie industry.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like there's a big market for gaming stuff. And I think you're right. A lot of people are now starting to figure it out. Like if I would have been where I am today 5 years ago, I would be in so much better of a place. But now it's really hard. It's hard because all the good people, I'm not saying all the good people are taken, but like the people that you want to work with are out of your price point at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least me. I can't afford to hire an editor or have somebody do that. I mean, I have an artist for my channel, or a couple artists actually that do work for me. And I usually get a couple things done a year, but that's about, that's like what I can afford for.
Yeah. And there's always affordable folks out there, but we're talking about people that will do it the exact way you want it to be done.
Sure.
On a level that you're expecting, right?
That kind of goes back to the Fiverr thing, right? I was looking at people because a lot of times you can get students that are in art school or videos, programming or whatever that need experience. And they go on Fiverr and they're like, I'll do your project or whatever for, $20 a video or whatever. They usually don't have that much experience in it, obviously, because they're students. But a lot of it is just copy paste. Like the template is already made and then they just throw your clips into like the same thing. So like every time you do it, it's the exact same thing. They've just thrown your content in there. So it probably is literally 10 minutes of work for them because the template they have already made. And it's just not good.
Yeah. Everyone's got the esports logo with the bear or the wolf or, some sort of, scene of a guy with his hair on fire holding like a controller. Yeah.
Separation screen and stuff like that. It's just like, it's like a freaking Michael Bay movie. I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah.
That's not what I want at all. Like, we need to focus on the gameplay. That's what we're here for. Okay. Let's reel it in, bud.
Yeah. Cause you want, it's not easy, but you want even like down to your elements of what you do, like your transitions or something like that.
It's gotta be your personality too, right? Because if it's not, is it even really? Are you gonna feel good about it at the end of the day? I guess that's what it comes down to. Like,
I think there's degrees to that, right? I think there are some people who are just content with like, I like my lean cuisine dinner every night and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch Friends, right? Like I'm going to sit down and watch Friends and, and then I'm going to go to bed. Like there's people who are like that on every aspect of life. Like I'm cool being this guy at this job and then going home and doing my normal routine every night. And there's nothing wrong with that, but
I'm not like that though. Like I want to be better. I want to do better. You know what I mean? Like
I don't think you see any big people that are big because they're unique doing any of that stuff though, right? They've all got their own shit.
Fascinating thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have often gone to very large streams, like people who are streaming to like tens of thousands of people. And I'm like, what is this person doing differently that I'm not doing? You know what I mean? Like, what could I do better to really elevate my stream? And I'm going to tell you, these people aren't doing anything different. If anything, they're worse. And I don't understand why some of these people have as many people as they do, because one, there's no chat interaction, like whatsoever. Like there is no community whatsoever. It's just a flood of random comments that go through there. If they look over at the screen once to talk to chat, it's a miracle. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
like the only time they're going to respond is if there's like a very large donation or a very large, gift bomb of subs that are coming their way. Like that's the only thing that they respond to. And it's fascinating. Like it's really weird to see that because that's not my reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's also hard to get that in a snapshot though, right? Like when you're there to be like, what's this guy doing different? Like if I just show up at Tim the Tatman stream on YouTube, I'm like, what's he doing? And he's just playing Call of Duty. And like, but I will say like, if I'm there for the beginning, because I don't watch a lot of Tim the Tatman, but I do kind of enjoy like the very beginnings of his stream when he's just talking, when he's just sitting there talking.
Sure.
And like, I'm like, that's the hook. Like he's built this culture around the way he talks to his chat and the things that chat does. And like, that's the hook. And the game is just kind of a thing that's there. Right.
That will happen. Right.
Yeah. And like, so it's hard to kind of encapsulate, like, cause I've done that too, where I'll be like, what is happening here that's not happening honestly, in some cases anywhere else, but it just could be, I don't know. Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes it's just right place, right time. And they gathered an audience super early.
Sometimes too. Yep.
And I think there's a pitfall. We can make this the last thing we talk about before we move on to LopezRadio. But like, I think there's a pitfall that people sit in because I do it. I know you've done it because we talk all the time. But like, I think that there's a lot of, man, if I had done this 5 years ago, I'd be in such a better place. And I think that's while that may be true, because I think the same way. While that may be true, I think it's a hard mental state to break out of, because it's just kind of like, well, that's great. You probably would have done great, but you're here now and this is your reality now. And I think there's people that
adapting is huge, right?
Right. And I think you did a great job of that, because I mean, you made partner in a time that is kind of tough to make partner. Like it does feel like sometimes it goes in waves where all of a sudden you're seeing a bunch of people like, I just made partner, but like it's still tougher than it used to be. And I think there was a long time where I was like, man, I wish it was, I wish I was around when it was easier, to get it. And it's just kind of like, well, I'm not.
At the same time, I wonder if I got partner because of the situation that I was in too, because did COVID all of a sudden elevate viewership on Twitch where more people were home and they were bored and they were just watching streams and stuff? Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe that is why. Maybe COVID is the reason why I ended up getting partner. Maybe.
So many things are, especially in entertainment, are right place, right time.
Yeah.
Right place, right time. Yeah.
Could have been. It could have been. I could have been in the right place at the right time in the right directory. You know what I mean?
You just happened to be, or maybe it wasn't even that. Maybe you just happened to have, maybe you just happened to be in the right person's channel one day. Or the right person just happened to click by, and there's I want to play with that person. And then all of a sudden you've been exposed to another group of people that you fit really well with. Right. And that thing just kind of grows. There's all manner of things that can make that happen. But I've been trying much harder over the past year to get myself out of the, even on the radio side of things, man, if I had started doing radio stuff when I was XYZ age, or if I'd just been born 10 years earlier, man, all that stuff, I feel like it's a very big waste of time.
It's
and
empty.
It's very empty
thoughts. It's empty thoughts, because there's no way you could ever possibly know.
Yeah. Well, and there's
not a healthy way of thinking about it, because the only thing that matters is what's right now, and the only thing that's gonna matter is what you're gonna do about it.
Yeah. Because unless you can figure out a way to roll back the hands of time, right? That's the only thing that you can do is kind of deal with the cards that are in front of you right now and try to get out of it. And I know that because me and you and all of our other content creator friends are just always well, what's the next thing? Where's everyone going to move to? Is it YouTube? Because me and you have talked about that so many times. I think I'm doing it. And I'm okay. Can't do it.
A lot of people are talking about it. Sounds like a really great place to be, but nobody's freaking doing it, even though everybody's talking about that's the new thing. That's what you're gonna have to do.
Yeah,
do it.
Says the creator that's already doing it. And
I want to see how you do. I want to see how you do, and then we'll see how I want to do it too. Okay, you go first.
You go up there, and I'll catch up. I'll catch up to you.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
I think this goes back to trying to figure out people's intentions. Is it truly genuine, or is it, they're after something, or they're there to either promote themselves or to benefit themselves. And I think that's a risk that we deal with every day in our normal lives as well.
Yeah.
But in a business like this, it's, I think, a little more prominent. I think it's hard to really tell who your true friends are sometimes.
Well, and I think it's entertainment in general, right? Entertainment, sure. if you're whether you're in movies or TV or doing radio or doing any kind of thing like that, people are always looking for someone to be ooh, there's someone I can lean on a little bit, and they can lean back on me maybe, but mostly I want to lean on them, right? And it's tough. We're kind of circled back around to where we started. It's kind of becomes all right, what's the intention here? Should I be throwing up blocks? And I think that it's only natural to feel that way, because you do just over time get exposed to folks who just have a certain intention. And I've talked about TwitchCon several times, where it's 2017 felt different from 2018, felt different from 2019, right? And it was very much a thing where the opportunists started showing up more. And now all of a sudden, people who were really cool and fun to hang out with the last time you were there are now the hell do you want from me? Because it ramped up, the popularity of streaming and Twitch ramped up so much that it's just people that are coming up looking to get something. And I understand that feeling. I think the bigger you get, the more you have to deal with that, I think.
I think it's hard to almost the other way around. I play with someone who's very popular and he's a pretty large streamer, but at the same time, it's because there's so many, I get this a lot too, and this really bothers me, but it's almost another topic, but I think I've sent this to you, comments that I've gotten before where people are oh, well, you wouldn't be where you are if it wasn't for so-and-so. And those kind of comments really bother me, because it's I have worked so hard to be where I am and to get what I have. Because not only have not just in 2001 did I become Twitch partner, I also became a Crytek partner, and I also became YouTube partner. So I got 3 partnerships in 1 year, and that's not because of somebody else. That's because of me. Like, I did that. Nobody else did that. Nobody did that for me, but it's hard because I get a lot of comments because I'm friends with this larger streamer. I get a lot of comments that are like, well, you're only where you are because of this person. You know what I mean? And that really bothers me. Not just because I care what people think. I care what he thinks, because I really like him as a friend. Like sure, at first it was kind of like, oh, we're just going to play games together because we have a mutual acquaintance. You know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of like a game session. But now, like, I genuinely talk to this person, like, off of stream. Like, we have conversations. We've gotten to know each other. Like, we play games together. Like, we're friends now. You know what I mean? Like, I care about this person, and I don't want them to think, like, oh, well, if other people think, like, not that I think that he would ever think this, because I don't. He's way smarter. He doesn't. No, he's way smarter than that. But at the same time,
it still hits you back of your mind, right?
Sure. What do other people think? Like, if all of these other people are saying this about me, like, oh, she's just kissing ass so that she can do this. Like, one, I don't take it too seriously because they obviously don't know who I am. Like, I'm a very bluntly honest person. Like, my intentions are usually pretty clear. Like, if I don't like you, like, you're gonna know that I don't like you.
Sure. I mean, because I know you've definitely played with folks where you're kind of like, and they were even bigger streamers, right? And you're like, sure. I didn't enjoy that. I don't think I'll be doing that again.
Do that again.
Like, it's not because it's not about opportunity, right? It's about, like, I need it to be a good time.
Sometimes like they reach out and you're like, yeah, sure, let's play some games. But then after you play games together, you realize that you just don't mesh. Yeah. You're like, and I usually ask myself, like, would I hang out with this person in real life? And if the answer is no, then I probably won't be playing games with them again. Yeah. I mean, luckily I've been very fortunate that I have found a really nice group of people that I like to play games with. And it's nice that I can, kind of hop around and play with these individuals pretty regularly. But now it is kind of weird now when people reach out and they're like, oh, I want to play games, because that kind of thought is kind of always in your mind, So I think that's big. Have your boundaries, have a good community of people.
Resist the intoxication to just blindly be like, oh yeah, just, you might have said something kind of weird, but I need someone to be here in my audience. Like,
I don't need that.
Dude, I've always said, if they're weird and you don't like it, just get them out. It doesn't matter. You don't know them. You don't owe them anything. It's one person.
Exactly.
Anyway, we've circled back around, but
we have actually.
I do appreciate you being on the show. We're gonna go continue our conversation over on LopezRadio. If you want to follow Kerrty, it's at Kerrty Plays on social media, and it's Kerrty on Twitch, on YouTube. And is it Kerrty Plays on TikTok, or is it just Kerrty on TikTok?
I think it's Kerrty Plays.
Kerrty Plays on TikTok. I'll edit that.
I don't know. I don't remember.
She's like, I don't even remember, and it's mine.
So bad.
I don't even know. But we're gonna continue our conversation over at LopezRadio. So please join us over there, and all the links will be in the description below on how you can get in touch with Kerrty and how you can go drop in and be creepy in her chat. So don't you do it. Kerrty, thank you for being here. I'll talk to you on the other side.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, bye.
Bye.